Yo, Ryan Garcia is reportedly in talks for a rematch with Rolly Romero. In this video, that is what I'm going to break down. Now, it is being reported by Ring Magazine that Rolly Romero, Ryan Garcia rematch, the negotiations are currently underway. Garcia predicts a stoppage with healthy hands. Ryan's performance against Rolly, a unanimous decision defeat in May, has been one of the most surprising results of the year. The pre-fight buildup, I don't even agree with that. Let me start there. I don't agree with that. Ryan's never been a champion, so he's already lost before to Tank Davis, and he's never been a champion. So why is it out of the box? Like, the thing that I'm noticing with today's generation of boxing is people can amass a following, like a cult-like following, without really having done anything. Versus before 60s, 70s, 80s, you had guys who were like in position. They were really supposed to be there. Everybody knew Muhammad Ali or Sonny Liston or Foreman, whoever the person was, right? Nowadays, you can get it popping like Edgar Berlanga and talk a good game, but then not really live up to it performance-wise. You know, Ryan Garcia, where you're like, you got this cult-like following, but you've never been a champion. So I don't understand why people call everything an upset. Moving on. Afterward, Garcia underwent surgery on his right hand for the second time in 4 years as he readies, blah, blah, blah. Quote, "The fight I am most interested in is me getting a rematch against Rolando Romero. Garcia and Romero's camps," this is what you got to pay attention to, "have already kicked off negotiations and are in advanced talks for a rematch to take place as early as December." That's not really early, but whatever. The Ring has learned, according to a source with knowledge of these discussions. "That just wasn't me that night," Garcia said. "I had hand problems on both of my hands, coming off a 1-year layoff and a weird training camp, training just 4 weeks with Derek James and fighting in front of a small crowd." Now, that sounds like a whole lot of excuses. You had hand problems in both of your hands. You were coming off a 1-year layoff, but tell the full story. 1-year layoff based on a positive failed PED test. That's why you were coming off a 1-year layoff. He says a weird training camp, whatever that means, and you were training just 4 weeks with Derek James, plus fighting in a small crowd. That's like 5 different excuses. One, why did you only train with 4 weeks with Derek James? You were supposed to train with Canelo's team, and then that fell apart. That's nobody else's fault, right? Fighting in front of a small crowd, you agreed to. See, this is where me and a lot of these young fighters, we disagree, because Boxing Ego has said it, Tank Davis said it, all money's not good money. These dudes get up here and they want that turkey money, and they're like, yeah, Fatal Fury, and they do all this stuff to get placement. Then they get placed on the fight, and then they're mad at the outcome, right? So Shakur Stevenson, when Turkey is doing all this, oh, I don't want to see Tom and Jerry fights. This is what you signed up for. He's the guy with the money. He calls the shots. So if that's what he's publicly saying, no one can really stop him. He's putting up the bread, right? Ryan is complaining about a small crowd. This is what you agreed to. Fighting in this weirdo ring in the center of Times Square, and you guys all hyped it up, and then it didn't deliver, and everybody seemingly hated it, and now this is being listed as an excuse. Edgar Berlanga was like, yeah, I know you Turkey's boy, I'm your Canelo. Then he gets knocked out by Hamza Shiraz, and then he's like, oh, they set me up. He had tainted wraps or whatever. His hand wraps were doctored up or whatever. You know what I mean? And again, all money's not good money. This is what you guys signed up for. You signed up to be a guinea pig with Turkey doing these like spectacle events. This is what it is. Anyway, that's my rant. I had severely swollen knuckles on my left hand going in 2 weeks before the fight. Anything I did flare it up. I was basically fighting with no hands. That's why you saw me barely throw any punches. Again, nobody cares in boxing, man. Ryan could have just saved this interview and not said anything. And what makes it worse is we've been here before. When you fought Tank, you had reasons and excuses why you didn't beat Tank. Before the fight, you said Tank's too little, I'm gonna knock him out. End of story. You were at Mike Tyson's podcast and you said he can't mess with you. You're knocking Tank out. He's, too little, blah, blah, blah. He knocks you out and knocks you down. And you say, oh man, it was the catch weight. I wasn't good at the weight. But before the fight, at the media day, you're eating tacos saying you're making weight perfectly, right? Then you had that Mongolian dude. Hey, King Ryan, I'm sorry for what I did to you in spotting. Are you okay? That dude. And allegedly Ryan had broke ribs or hurt ribs from an incident that happened in sparring. Again, people don't care about that. You signed up. You agreed for the fight. You said I could be ready on said date. The commission approved you. You got paid, etc. You know what I mean? So I don't like this from fighters. Don't like this from Ryan. It was the first time that's ever happened in any of my fights. It was hard for me to accept during the fight. I cried after the fight, not because I lost, but because I was defenseless. It sucks when you're a competitor, and I was actually shocked Rolly was not attacking me. It was a weird night and just a mess all the way through, said Ryan Garcia. Sometimes you need the wake-up call. It's no secret that I've already battled through so many challenges that most of these fighters wouldn't be able to last. I see the noise and people bringing me down, but I will be back, and I am going to be so happy to prove everyone wrong. That's what champions are made of. Now, the end part, I don't have a problem with. You should feel like that. You want to prove people wrong, but you lost, bro. Nobody wants to hear all these reasons and excuses and like sob story. You signed up. You got approved to fight. Rolly beat you. Now, that being said, I personally really don't care for a rematch between these two, and that's part of the problem with Turkey. Turkey has come in and because they're saying negotiations are going through on Ring Magazine. So I'm going to take them at face value that what they're saying is true. So he's pushing for a rematch. A lot of these rematches aren't really even needed. You got Conor Benn, Chris Eubank Jr. The first fight was cool. But why do we have to keep seeing Chris Eubank fight at a weight that he really probably can't make? And why do we have to see Ryan versus Rolly? Ryan lost, and he lost considerably, right? Better BF Bivol. I don't know what happened. They were supposed to do a third fight this year. Now it looks pushed back. So Turkey keeps going back to the well, and I don't think that's good for boxing. I'm not even done. You got Tyson Fury and Usyk, talking about a trilogy fight. I thought Tyson Fury was retired. Nobody cares about that fight. So bad news for Ring. It looks stale that they keep going back to the well and trying to get this stagnant water that nobody asked for. Oh, that's a crazy photo. That's a crazy photo from Pitbull, right? The Ryan and Rolly fight did not exceed the Pitbull and Rolly fight in terms of fanfare and action. You know, this was a more action-packed and dramatic fight. Ryan can say whatever he want as far as the cause, but it just wasn't a great fight. The two styles, Rolly did his thing, did what he needed to do to win. He's a champion now. He dropped Ryan. I want to see Rolly fight Pacquiao. To me, that's a better fight. That's a better fight because Pacquiao scored a draw. He looked pretty sharp now that he got a fight back under his belt, you know, after ending the inactivity. To me, it's more of a compelling fight. Ryan, I mean, he could fight like a Barbosa or something to come back. I know personally he probably wants to show that he's better than what he showed on that night, and I get that, but I'm just saying boxing fans shouldn't have to witness that and like live through that because you didn't perform on the night and then now you want to prove that you're better than that. I don't think we should have to suffer through it. So I don't know. Let me know. Maybe your opinion differs and you really love Ryan redemption arc here, but I don't love the fight. First of all, I don't like rematches that don't need to happen. I've always said that. And I don't like fights where we got a clear winner and then we're seeing a rematch, like Canelo versus Jermell Charlo. Why would they rematch under these terms when Canelo definitely won and it wasn't a great fight? You know what I mean? So it's like fights like that, or Ryan Rolly, when you got a clear winner, what are we doing a rematch for? You know, especially if there wasn't a rematch clause that forces it. And even that rematch clause is iffy. Again, I understand Ryan being a competitor, he's going to have his excuses and he feels he could do better and wants to right that wrong. But I really don't like the rematch. That's just my personal opinion. Let me know what you guys think. For more boxing news, subscribe.